Welcome back, everyone. It looks like Ryan Reynolds is doing more Avengers Doomsday teasing. Everybody seems to think that he just revealed he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday. Late last night, as of me posting this video, he randomly posted another Avengers logo with an Anarchy logo above it, similar to the one, not the exact same, but similar to the one that we saw during Deadpool and Wolverine. We probably shouldn't have been surprised by this. It was only a matter of time before they started letting Ryan Reynolds make more Deadpool and Avengers Doomsday posts. Previously, he and Wolverine weren't supposed to come back until Avengers Secret Wars, but then Deadpool and Wolverine earned over $1 billion, and Kevin Feige started being asked all these questions about when they were going to actually come back in future Marvel movies, and he basically said, as soon as possible, like as many places we can actually find to put them as quickly as possible.
The plans for Wolverine and Deadpool will always be where can we get them and how quickly and how much. Yeah.
And pretty much everybody just took that to mean the next Avengers movies, both of them, in different ways. Also, to pay off the idea of why Thor was crying. Why was Thor crying? There are a couple other things that happened when he was posting this Avengers logo last night, too, that I think a lot of people missed. This is really just the beginning. Personally, I feel like Ryan Reynolds' marketing for the Deadpool movies is actually on par with the best of the best Avengers movie marketing, like Infinity War, Endgame, even Captain America Civil War. There are a couple marketing campaigns for the Marvel movies that have just been so much better than all the other movies. You always kind of wonder why they don't take inspiration from some of their best movie marketing campaigns. If Marvel really wants to be smart about it, they'd probably be better off just having Deadpool make jokes about the next Chair Watch video instead of actually doing a Chair Watch video. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. So if you didn't see this originally when it dropped late last night, just randomly in the middle of the night, Ryan Reynolds posted this with no caption. Usually he puts captions for his posts, even when he's making funny posts about previous Deadpool movies or future Marvel movies or teasing future Marvel movies. This is meant to be a similar but not the same Anarchy Avengers flag that we saw on Cassandra Nova's Ant-Man base. That one was blue. He also posted that to his Instagram before the movie came out to promote it. I think Kevin Feige also had an Avengers Anarchy hat that he wore too for a little while. When he first posted it, we hadn't actually seen it show up in the trailers yet, so people assumed that it had some bigger meaning, but in the actual movie, they didn't really do that much with it. Like, you just see the flag waving in the background at the Ant-Man base, and that's it. Like, they never really address it. This version of Wolverine apparently has met the Avengers on the world that he came from and really does not like them.
I wanted to be an Avenger. The Avengers. Yeah.
There are a couple background Avengers Easter eggs, but they didn't get into too many literal Easter eggs other than say, like, why was Thor crying? Like, will Deadpool eventually join the Avengers? Like, all the jokes about him eventually joining an Avengers team at the beginning of the movie, and that was about it. But right around the same time he posted this Avengers Endgame teaser on his regular Instagram post, he also posted an Instagram story of himself wearing a red Hawaiian shirt similar to his shirt from Deadpool and Wolverine that he wore, which is also a John Candy reference, one of the many John Candy references in the movie, using the song Debussy's Claire de Lune. Right before he actually posted this Avengers picture, there was also talk about them doing another Chair Watch type of video to announce more big actors, characters from the MCU that will be in Avengers Doomsday, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, possibly now Deadpool, and possibly Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I don't know if they're going to do an actual Chair Watch video. I don't know if I can sit through another 6 to 12 hours of them just waiting for chairs to announce a couple actors that we already know are going to be in the movie. Like, you know that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to appear in the movie. We don't need another Chair Watch to tell us that. I think the real question was going to be, what are they actually going to do with Deadpool and Wolverine if they're going to add them to Doomsday when they weren't before? Like, what is going to change about their story during the movie? Are they just going to be a little small part of the film? Or are they just going to have a couple of jokes, cameo level, and then be bigger characters during Avengers Secret Wars? Because that seems like the bigger pull. Like, we really want to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine on screen with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in Secret Wars feels like the better place to do that. So they're going to make him a really big character in these next Avengers movies. It just makes more sense for that to be Secret Wars. I'm actually thinking more about his character in general than about Deadpool, just because Deadpool is usually there for comedic relief, like he's there to punch stuff up. So even though it seems like he's a really important character in terms of box office at Marvel, technically in the overarching story, he isn't quite as big as some of the other stuff they're doing with the X-Men right now. Like Avengers Secret Wars is meant to be kind of an X-Men Endgame kind of film. Really giving those classic X-Men actors a big send-off, even though there's all the jokes about them doing this until they're 90. Kevin Feige has already said that he's going to be rebooting the MCU after Secret Wars. They call it a reset of singular timelines, and a lot of that is going to manifest in the brand new X-Men reboot movie with a completely unknown, or mostly unknown, group of actors. So personally, Deadpool and Wolverine show up in Avengers Doomsday. I would be totally fine if it's just like a brief moment in the background, and then you save most of their story for Avengers Secret Wars. Like, they're a couple of the people that survived the collapse of the multiverse into Secret Wars.
Why was Thor crying? You feel me? Who else knows this?
There are a lot of questions after the end of Deadpool and Wolverine 2 because they went back to Deadpool's original world, which they canonized as the original X-Men universe. So that's where all the Bryan Singer movies took place, where Days of Future Past, they combined it with the First Class timeline, so it's all the same Earth. But because of where they went back into the timeline, there are now two versions of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine on that planet, and now technically there are supposed to be two versions of X-23, because X-23 isn't born till like the distant future of that timeline, so now there's like a much older version of her that's there in the past. So technically you have 4 Wolverines, if you count X-23 as 2 different Wolverines on that planet. What they could do if the Russos are trying to simplify a lot of the way that all these characters start to interact is say that that X-Men universe is the same one that they're actually filming all those X-Men scenes with for Avengers Doomsday and all those battle scenes at the X-Mansion. They can also simplify by saying that that's the same X-Men universe that Monica Rambeau got stuck in at the end of the Marvels movie with Kelsey Grammer's Beast, and her mother, who plays a version of Binary in that universe and has both Bangles, and also the Earth that Channing Tatum's Gambit got rescued to at the end of the movie. They could just say that his X-Men team is that X-Men team. Recently, Rebecca Romijn, who's coming back as Mystique, she was in the first Chair Watch video, also said that the Russos had not finished the script when they were promoting stuff previously, so it sounds like the Russos also kind of making stuff up on the fly as they go, so hold all your theories very loosely and just expect them to simplify a lot of these storylines where the way all people come together in these different universes in the movie. I'm expecting Doomsday to be between 2.5 to 3 hours long, but if they really wanted to explain all these plot holes that they have coming from Marvel Phase 4, Marvel Phase 5, and wrap up those storylines, it'd need to be like a 10-hour movie, which I would totally watch, but they're probably not going to release.
Who knows?
Whoever tickles your fancy.
Anybody in the Marvel bag could show up in this movie.
So do not be surprised if there are a bunch of big questions that they do not answer. One of the funnier ones was, why was Thor crying in the first place? John Levy actually said on the commentary for Deadpool and Wolverine that they didn't have any grand idea for how that was going to pan out. They just put it in the movie because they thought it was a funny bit. They're basically like, we'll figure that out later, but later seems like Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, like we'll let the Russos figure that out. The other big thing that Ryan Reynolds recently revealed is that he is working on a version of Deadpool 4, but that's not going to be released for several years, probably. Now, the way he talked about it, it was actually going to be a smaller film with a couple of X-Men characters. I've already done previous videos about that. So the way The Hollywood Reporter is explaining it, it would be Deadpool and 3 to 4 other X-Men, including Wolverine. He's writing an early treatment of the movie now, and it would release a couple years after Avengers Secret Wars and the new X-Men reboot movie. So just to be clear, this new movie that Ryan Reynolds is writing with all these other X-Men characters is not the brand new X-Men reboot movie that Kevin Feige has been talking about for the last couple years. That is meant to be Marvel restarting an X-Men-based line of movies, like the main X-Men team inside the MCU post-Secret Wars, in a slightly rebooted Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not a full hard reboot, but reboot in the way that most of the actors in that movie will be recast versions of the characters. There's always going to be a lot of questions about how they're going to deal with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine after Secret Wars. Supposedly he's supposed to stick around a little bit longer, and they will make him do this until he's 90, but they will be recasting a brand new Wolverine for the MCU eventually, so like Hugh Jackman will not always be the main Wolverine forever. But it definitely sounds like the X-Men-based movie that Ryan Reynolds is writing is more of an Uncanny X-Force movie because it would be rated R. In his own words, he said he only wanted to be 4th or 5th banana in somebody else's movie, like he would totally love to be in a Channing Tatum Gambit solo movie. That's not what this movie is. It's another X-Men-based movie that Deadpool is just going to appear in as a supporting character. But they will probably put Deadpool in the title of the movie, like Deadpool and X-Force. But you remember Deadpool 2 had X-Force or a version of it, but X-Force was basically like the small cameo briefly in that movie, mostly just for a one-off joke. This time it would be much more of, say, like an X-Force type of movie or an X-Men based movie with a little bit of Deadpool in it. And it sounds like Ryan Reynolds in success plans to launch another X-Men based franchise of movies that don't have to completely rely on Deadpool to be in every single one of the movies. Like they could do a sequel to that movie with just those brand new X-Force or X-Men characters without him.
From now on, we'll be known as X-Force.
But because it's still going to take a couple years to do this, there's still a number of ways that they can include multiverse characters if he wants to bring people back. He's currently powerful enough inside the studio that like he was able to get Wesley Snipes to come back as Blade, where originally Wesley Snipes explained that he didn't think that Marvel would care about that at all. Like he'd met Kevin Feige a long time ago, Wesley Snipes had, but it didn't seem like they had any plans to ever bring him back. Just in terms of all the crazy lawsuit stuff going on behind the scenes, people have been asking if that's going to have any kind of effect of his future as Deadpool at Marvel, if Kevin Feige cares about any of that stuff. Generally, no. I think the outcome with all that, like all that drama behind the scenes, is that it will all end in a settlement. That is the way that all lawsuits like that end in Hollywood, a settlement out of court. Generally, I would advise not wasting time trying to keep up with that. It does not matter. There's a bunch of stuff happening now between Spider-Man Brand New Day and now Avengers Doomsday, which is in the middle of filming. 2 big Marvel films coming out next year, the only Marvel films. So that's basically what we're going to be seeing from all the behind the scenes, all the teasers that they do. If they wind up doing an actual chair watch video in the next month, of course I will do a video for, or whatever kind of official teasers they do release. Everybody post all your big theories and let me know what you want them to do with all the characters going forward, especially Deadpool and Wolverine, if they're going to be doing these new rebooted X-Men characters eventually. Like eventually they will recast Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but still probably try to find ways to have him cameo as a multiverse version of Wolverine in the distant future. Sony just released a whole bunch more Spider-Man Brand New Day footage. Everybody click here and here for both of those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.